Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of The Live Ones. It is Wednesday, January 26, 2022, and the big news, as we were talking about yesterday, is the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame inductions. It was a class of one, and really just a matter of how the eye test and subjective judgment ultimately plays a role. David Ortiz was inducted in his first year of eligibility. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and Curt Schilling now fall off the list in their final years. The absolute pretzels of logic that some of the writers used in order to justify voting for Ortiz while not voting for others who have reported links to steroids, well, they were pretzels of logic. That's all I can say about it. The takes from almost everyone in the sports writing world had to do with it being a matter of timing. Ortiz had one failed test, played another 14 years of his career without failing, and while being, a generally positive, friendly, likable person, as opposed to Bonds, Clemens, and particularly Schilling, who were not particularly well-liked on a personal level. Okay, if that's how we're going to do it. Ortiz also becomes the second designated hitter in the Hall of Fame after Edgar Martinez in 2019, which itself requires the use of the eye test because Ortiz's advanced statistics are significantly less. His overall contribution to the game as a complete player are less than a lot of his contemporaries who are notably not in the Hall, names like Kenny Lofton, Scott Rowland, and Chase Utley, who will be eligible next year, but I seriously doubt will make it in. So his hitting prowess and his postseason performance had to make up for it, and by all accounts, it did. So David Ortiz, Big Papi, he is in the Hall of Fame. We had a 3-4 night last night. We're sitting one game below 500 for the week, but there's plenty of week left to get positive. We have all the usual sports on the slate tonight. Let's get right to it. And we are going to start in the SEC with LSU and Texas A&M. LSU opened as 12-point favorites and moved down to as low as 8.5-point favorites last night before being bet back up to 10 today, where it currently stands. The total opened at a very low mark of 126.5 and has since moved to 131. LSU is going through a real rough patch trying to deal with key injuries to Xavier Pinson and Darius Days. The offense is just not the same without them, scoring about 7 points less a game in the 4 games they've had to play without him so far. But with or without Pinson, the top-ranked LSU defense is largely intact, a defense that has allowed just 55 points a game at home this season, a defense that has not given up more than 70 points even once this season, despite playing offensive powerhouses like Kentucky, Alabama, Auburn, Arkansas, and Tennessee. And that does not bode well for a Texas A&M team that scored just 58 against both Kentucky and Wisconsin, whose defenses are both a tier below LSU's. This one's a no-brainer for me. Fade the public, take the under 131 points. So then moving over to the Big 12, West Virginia and Oklahoma. The 12-7 Oklahoma Sooners are sitting on a 4-game losing streak where their offense has been limited to under 57 points a game. Just abysmal. They're on the road tonight against a 13-5 West Virginia team that's also strong defensively, ranking 27th in the country. The Mountaineers are also riding a losing streak, and they've been having trouble shooting the ball lately, ranking outside the top 200 in points per game, field goal percentage, free throw percentage, and three-point percentage. With that said, there's a big edge to be had tonight for West Virginia, and that is in turnovers. Oklahoma coughs it up like a 3-pack-a-day smoker, and the Mountaineers are 18th in the country in forcing turnovers. I fully expect West Virginia to get a lot of points tonight off of the Sooners' mistakes. Mountaineers are 10-1 straight up at home this season, and they are welcoming a Sooners team that only has one true road victory this year. This should be the game where West Virginia gets it right. Give me the Mountaineers minus 2.5 points. So, heading out west to San Diego State and Utah State, this total opened up at 126.5 and has been bet up all day today, sitting now at 129.5. San Diego State is an elite defensive team. We all know it, having held 7 straight and 10 out of its last 11 opponents to less than 60 points. As is usually the case with a team that is defensively oriented like this, they usually aim to get themselves a total in the low 60s, and they're usually happy with that. Last time out, however, they did score 80 points against a struggling UNLV team, which I'm guessing is the reason for the line movement. They're on the road tonight against Utah State, another elite defensive squad. The Aggies have faced some tough opposition in Fresno State and Boise State over their last 2 games, and they've managed to hold them to just 61 and 62 points. They've allowed just 62.6 points per game on sub 40% shooting here at home this season. The last 4 meetings between these two Mountain West Conference teams have totaled just 115, 102, 123, and 125 points. Again, fading the public here. This one's nice and simple. Take the under 129.5 points tonight. So that's it for college basketball. Let's take a look at the NBA. Short slate of games tonight, but the one that I'm looking at is the Clippers and the Magic. Man, this game's going to be ugly. The LA Clippers had one of the most stunning performances of the season, coming back from 35 points to defeat the Washington Wizards yesterday. Biggest comeback in the last 26 years of NBA basketball. We've seen a trend, however, all year long that teams that win on a back-to-back by a margin of less than 6 points are just 9, 23, and 2 in the following game. I don't like backing the Magic in any situation, but I do like fading the Clippers' offense in this spot even more than I normally would. These are two atrocious offenses, 27th and 28th in the league, respectively, with the Clippers likely having tired legs and being in the spot for an emotional letdown. I'm not seeing a high-scoring game here. Take the under 214 points. And last but not least, over to the NHL. Only 3 games on the tap for tonight, but the one that I'm looking at is the Flames and the Blue Jackets. The Calgary Flames come to Columbus as big favorites, looking to keep up the momentum after they just absolutely murdered the Blues 7-1. The Blue Jackets have fallen off the pace after a modestly successful start to the season. They're going to be looking to avoid their 10th loss in the last 14 games. The Flames have played 3 strong games in a row, outscoring opponents 15-7 and notching 2 wins and a really tough loss against the Panthers. So they're looking like the Flames that we saw at the beginning of the season before COVID schedule lapses just completely killed off their momentum. They're really looking a whole lot better on offense lately. Columbus's defense is one of the absolute worst in the NHL, giving up 3.5 goals a game on 35 shots a game, both bottom 3 rankings. I'm going to take a chance on the puck line here for the Flames. In the current form these two teams are playing in, they're just the much better team, and I absolutely expect them to build on the recent offensive successes. Give me the Flames on the puck line for the plus 130 value at minus 1.5 goals. That's going to be it for me tonight, folks. Everyone bet safe, stay safe. Follow us on Twitter at Live One Sports. Check us out on Roku and Fire TV at the Live Ones. Have yourselves a great Wednesday night, and I will see you tomorrow.